Hey everybody, it's GoblinoX and welcome to my very first Omniscience Draft of the Core Set 2020 format on the channel. For those new to that format, Omniscience Draft is the format in which you get to cast everything for free. However, you only start with a 3-card hand, and you also get 1 mana of every color per turn to spend on abilities. So abilities are not free, but spells themselves are free. So these formats tend to be really ridiculous. They end up in a lot of one-turn kill style, just Yu-Gi-Oh style plays and decks, where you're just like chaining a bunch of draw spells into each other and trying to get something that gives your creatures haste to just bash your opponent for a million turn 1, or just draw as many cards as possible, dump as many things on the board as possible turn 1. So these formats are pretty ridiculous, and the number one card you want to look for in your packs are cards that draw cards immediately. Cards that are instants and sorceries that draw cards, or creatures that when they enter the battlefield, they draw cards. So that is the number one best thing to have in your deck, because if you get enough of those cards, especially ones that draw more than one card when you cast them, you can chain a whole bunch of spells into a single turn, because you don't have to pay for any of them. So, along those lines, we do have Audacious Thief here, which does draw cards. The problem with him is I don't think I'm going to pick him here because he's not exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for stuff that's immediately going to draw a card so we can lead to just one big insane turn. He is not that. He's not going to draw a card until he attacks, which much more often than not is going to be a turn after we play him. And by that time, since everybody can cast everything for free, including our opponent will probably have drawn a decent amount of cards, or at least played something larger than a 2/2, like a Vorst Claw. Since everything's free, you're going to see people with gigantic creatures. So Audacious Thief actually is not going to be that impressive in this format, I don't believe, simply because by the time he can finally attack and draw you that one card, he's definitely going to die. So, while that would be a pretty fine pick for a regular draft, I don't think it's the pick here. However, this pack in general is just not very good for this format. There isn't a single card in here that draws a card on resolution or when it enters the battlefield. The only thing that draws any cards is the Thief, which, as we've said before, draws them pretty slowly. So I think the pick might even just be a Shock here. Now, the reason is very specific for this. There is a card called Scholar of the Ages that is number one, probably the best thing to pick, easily up there, easily top 5 best picks for Omniscience Draft. And that is because it is like a 7-mana 2/2 or 3/3, something like that. But the important part is when it enters the battlefield, you get to return 2 instants or sorceries from your graveyard to your hand. So if you have that alongside Unsummon, basically any other instant or sorcery in the game is going to be brutal, if not lethal. So, the reason being, you can cast your Scholar, and then cast your Shock to deal 2 damage to your opponent, and then cast your Unsummon on your Scholar to put Scholar back into your hand. Then you can cast Scholar for free, return Shock and Unsummon back to your hand, and keep repeating that process infinitely to do infinite damage to your opponent. So that would be the reason to take Shock here. However, the Scholar of the Ages combo is powerful enough that it'll work with almost any instant or sorcery. Well, not almost any, but a decent amount of instants or sorceries should be lethal with it. You really only need a single copy of Shock or Agonizing Siphon or anything that damages your opponent to kill them with that. Because if you've managed to get Scholar of the Ages plus Unsummon, you can also just recast any of your instants and sorceries that draw cards, like Winged Words or Anticipate, stuff like that. You can just cast those infinitely until you draw into your Shock or something like that. So that would be a reason for Shock not being that high of a pick, because while it is something that is good in that combo, it's something you literally only need 1 copy of if you end up with that combo in your deck. So, if we're not taking Audacious Thief and we're not taking Shock, what is actually going to be the best card here? We have Vorst Claw is the largest creature, just a straight up 7/7. But Dungeon Geists is a decently sized creature, 3/3 with flying, so it's evasive. It gets around board stalls, which is a thing that can happen, because everyone's going to have a gigantic horde of creatures if they don't have an infinite combo. So it can get around board stalls and also shut off your opponent's scariest card. So I think that Dungeon Geist might be the best card to take here. But all in all, just not a super fantastic pack here. Alright, moving on to pack 2, and this is going to be a very, very easy pick after that first one. There's a Winged Words here that's straight up just going to be 0 mana, draw 2 cards, not a lot that you can really take over a card that gives you that many cards. So it is going to be Winged Words here. I'm just taking one last look through the packs to make sure I'm not missing anything, and yep, nothing else in this pack is as high of a draw power as Winged Words. So that is the pick there. Here we have not a whole lot. So Corpse Knight is another card that will combo with the Scholar of the Ages to kill your opponent if you can draw into it. So Scholar of the Ages plus Unsummon plus this guy is also just a lethal infinite combo. So that's one of the reasons that I was saying that Shock probably isn't actually as high of a pick as I was making it out to be at first. I just thought it was worth mentioning that combo as early as possible, because it's something we will definitely be looking for. So this pick might just be the Keldon Raider. Nothing in here is going to draw any cards except for Keldon Raider, and while we do have to discard a card, you have to remember that because we don't put any lands into our decks, we're drafting a total of 45 cards, 3 15-card packs like any normal draft, and 3 of those picks are guaranteed going to be lands, because there's a land in every single pack, which means that 3 of those picks we're not even going to play, so those go to our sideboard. So we're going to be playing 40 out of the 42 possible non-land cards that we're taking, so we will definitely end up with some cards that are duds, that don't really give us what we need, which is like draw power or combo potential, anything like that. So Keldon Raider, a decent amount of the time, is kind of just going to look like another card that just lets me draw a card when I play it, because I can just like play this and discard a Dungeon Geist if I'm on turn 1. So I think Keldon Raider is actually going to be pretty powerful here. Alright, here we go. Not the most fantastic pack. Potentially, if we draft a bunch of Battalion Foot Soldiers, those don't draw us any card, which is important because we're kind of trying to just draw into more cards that draw cards, but they do just immediately get all of our Battalion Foot Soldiers out of our deck so that we don't draw them later in the game. That might actually be okay. Like, it might be okay because this is just like 0 mana 2/2, and then say if we ended up with 3 Battalion Foot Soldiers, it's just straight up 3 2/2s for this one card. Might not be the worst. And Yarok's Fenlurk is the other card I'm slightly considering here, just because when it enters the battlefield, each opponent exiles a card from their hand, so that could be an okay play on turn 1, because everyone starts with only 3 cards in hand in this format, so potentially turning your opponent's hand into a 2-card hand could be an alright play. Other than that, really not a whole lot going on here. Dawning Angel is probably the card I'd be the most interested in, just gain 4 and have a 3/2 flying creature, so it's an evasive creature there. I think I'm going to try the Foot Soldier thing and see how well it works out here. Now, I'm not super confident in saying that that's just a good thing to have in your deck at this point. I'm not certain, but I do want to try it out and see how it works out here. So that's not something I'm going to recommend doing, but it is something I'm going to try out today. Here I think I'm going to take a Bone to Ash. It lets us draw a card the second we play it. The problem is that we can't just play it at any time, but countering a creature spell can be pretty good in these formats, because if our opponent plays their own Scholar of Ages, we need to kill that immediately before they even have a chance to unsummon that thing, because that could be an infinite combo that can kill us. However, if our opponent is playing Soul Salvage, that'll return 2 creatures from their grave to their hand. They would also just kill us that way. But Bone to Ash could potentially stop some kind of crazy combo like that, and if not, because everything is free, it will also just stop crazy bomb rare cards like Safara, like Yargos, I believe his name is, the Green Hydra guy, like the gigantic Drakuzeth dragon that does a bunch of damage. This just seems like it's probably going to be a decent card in this format. Because, yeah, stop a crazy bomb or stop an infinite combo. I'm cool with both of those things. Mind Rot is probably the second best card here. Mind Rot's a little bit weird because it's only really good if you draw it in your opening hand, but if you draw it in your opening hand, since everybody starts with a 3-card hand, you can make your opponent start with a 1-card hand, and if that 1 card is not, like, at least as powerful as Winged Words, where it lets them draw 2 cards, they're probably going to be out of the game. So, for now, I'm just taking the Bone to Ash there. Alright, so this pack looks pretty bad. Not a whole lot going on here. We could take like a Loaming Shaman. Like, I don't think any of these games are going to go long at all, but I guess that makes sure that we don't actually like accidentally mill ourselves if we manage to do any kind of crazy shenanigans. I don't think that that's something that's good to take here though, but there's nothing that good. Like, I think we probably just take the 5/5 Death Touch, I guess. So Convolute could do a tiny bit of work, but not a good amount of work, because everyone gets 5 mana to spend each turn, 1 mana of every color. So they can just pay their mana and not get their spell countered. So Convolute's probably not good, but there are a few times where potentially maybe they'll have used an ability. Alright, I think it's going to be like Feral Abomination, or maybe even just Reduced to Ashes to kill something here. I'm just going to go with Feral Abomination. Not a super exciting pack. Alright, so here we have Soul Salvage. That goes well with Keldon Raider, and it would go well with Scholar of the Ages if we got that. Other than that, though, not super good. And these tend to go pretty late, so we probably only want like 1 copy if we randomly pick that up. We could take Duress, could be okay, because this can look in our opponent's hand, and like Magical Christmas Land scenario is that they have a Drawn from Dreams, something that lets them look at the top 7 and draw any 2 out of them and get rid of it, so Duress could be good. Other than that, like, not an overwhelming amount here. Like, maybe we take Fairy Miscreants and try to do the same thing with the Foot Soldiers, where you just draft a whole bunch of Fairy Miscreants. Because if we have enough Fairy Miscreants, then any Fairy Miscreants we play after the first one allows us to draw an additional card. The problem with that is, as I've said before, we can only really cut 2 cards out of our deck. So if we don't end up with enough Fairy Miscreants in our deck to consistently draw cards off these, they are going to be very, very bad. So, pretty risky pick there. I'm actually... Problem with Duress is it doesn't do anything after turn 1. I guess unless our opponent has a bunch of Bone to Ashes and stuff, you never know. I don't want to go so all in that I'm trying to get Fairy Miscreants and Foot Soldiers, so I'm just going to go with the Duress here. We'll see how that works out for us. Oh no! Alright. Now I kind of wish that I took the Fairy Miscreant, because Sage's Row Denizen is another one of the cards that, if you manage to do the Scholar of Ages loop, will kill your opponent, because it'll mill them infinitely. And if you don't manage to do that loop, if you just have a gigantic stack of Fairy Miscreants, and you play a bunch of them in one turn, like, you could mill your opponent a bunch with this. Like, that could be okay. Another pack, not super exciting. We might even just take Soul Salvage here, to be honest. Yep, nothing here draws any cards except Goblin Ringleader. Could potentially draw goblins, but there are no goblins we'd even really want to play. So it's either just like Soul Salvage or Sage's Row Denizen. Neither of those are incredibly exciting, but I guess Soul Salvage already works a little bit with Keldon Raider, so maybe we just take Soul Salvage here. Alright, we can take an Octoprophet to help set up our draws, try to scry into some draw power, or we can just take Vorse Claw because it's the largest creature. Let's go ahead and grab... I'm going to grab the Octoprophet here. I like scrying quite a bit. Here we can take Keldon Raider again. And now we've got more stuff to go with our Soul Salvage. Hopefully we just discard some nonsense creature like a Feral Abomination, then we can just pick it back up with Soul Salvage anyway later. Alright. Sacrifice Salvager of Ruin. Choose a permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Return it to your hand. There might be some kind of use for this, but I can't think of it, so it's probably not great. I mean, none of these 4 cards are very good at all. And Scoured Barrens is just not a pick at all, because it's a land. So, I mean, we could try out Salvager of Ruin and see if it randomly turns into anything at some point. Because none of these other creatures are that exciting at all. Like, the biggest one is a 3-2. And other than that, there's a 2-1 flying first strike, which is okay. Like, this is probably the best creature, just stats-wise. Undead Servant could maybe. I just don't want to end up in a deck where I'm drafting Fairy Miscreants and Battalion Foot Soldiers and Undead Servants, so I'm trying to just stick to one of them. But we do have double Keldon Raider to go with Undead Servant, just to just discard them. This will make a bunch of chump blockers for just random large creatures. That's probably a little better than Salvager of Ruin, unless I'm really missing something here, which is obviously possible. This pack is awful. Wolfkin Bond's a little risky because it doesn't do anything unless we have a creature out, but Moat Piranhas is just not good. It's straight up just a 3-3 that can't attack. I feel confident enough we'll usually have a creature out that we can just do Wolfkin Bond instead. Get a 2-2 and give a creature +2/+2. Very nice. Glad I picked up that Undead Servant because there's a second one. And now we're taking Barony Vampire and Disenchant. Hey, we didn't get a last pick land there, which is very good for us. Alright, what do we have in this pack? There's a Legion's End. Exile target creature opponent controls with converted mana cost 2 or less, and all other creatures that player controls with the same name as that creature. So the only time this is ever going to come into play is if our opponent has a bunch of tokens. I don't think that's very likely, and I think it's incredibly unlikely our opponent is going to be playing creatures with converted mana cost 2 or less, so we're going to have to pass up on Legion's End here. We can take Herald of the Sun. It's just a free 4/4 with flying. We can use that ability once per turn because we get white, blue, black, red, and green to spend in every turn. Or we can just take Befuddle because it does draw a single card. I think we have to just play to the format strengths and just take Befuddle here. Take everything that's going to cycle to draw a card. Now we can take Unsummon. That way, if we ever see Scholar of the Ages, we can just kill people the second that we get both of those in our hand. However, there's a Battalion Foot Soldier here. Definitely want that card to wheel, but we're not missing out on a whole lot. Other than that, Leyline of Anticipation might actually be okay in this format. But I do think I want to just take Unsummon here, just in case I can pick up a Scholar of the Ages. I really, really would like to do that, because that's probably the most powerful thing you can do in this format. So yeah, going to take Unsummon, hope to wheel Battalion Foot Soldier here. Alright, we got a Winged Words, hoping to wheel Undead Servants. Other than that, what would the pick be in this pack? Pick would probably just be the big old Dragon Mage. When it does combat damage to a player, each player discards their hand and draws 7. So if this ever damages your opponent, you can basically just kill them immediately, because it's far more likely that you have enough just sorcery speed, draw spells and stuff to just kill them. Well, not kill them, but to go crazy before they get to do anything than in like the regular draft format. Alright, so I'm going to pick a Winged Words here. Connection lost. What is happening? What is happening? My connection is fine. I am looking at my internet right now. I think Arena might be stuttering a bit. I don't know what's going on. Well, apologies, everybody. I would like to get this video up as soon as possible, so this might not be edited out. Because if I edit it, I'll have to process the video, which on my computer takes like 5 times as long as the video is, so then I won't even get the video out until tomorrow, so probably going to leave that in there. Sorry about that. Don't know really what happened there, but we are just taking Winged Words. Here we can take another Unsummon, just to make it more consistent if we do that. However, if we get multiple Yarok's Wave Crashers, we can also just repeatedly cast Yarok's Wave Crashers. Just chain them off of each other. to go infinite that way, and then if we get anything that does something when a creature enters the battlefield, we can kill our opponent with that. So Yarok's Wavecrasher maybe could be the pick here. I guess the question is, like, do I think I'm more likely to pick up another Yarok's Wavecrasher or pick up an Agent of... I forgot its name because Arena just died on me, but Scholar of the Ages, there it is. And they're both uncommon, so I think they're both literally just as likely. So really, Wavecrasher or Unsummon, like, both is about the same. I guess with Wavecrasher, we can cast Wavecrasher and return a Keldon Raider to play it again, so we'll take Wavecrasher here. Hope to get more Unsummons later, like now, but I'm not going to take an Unsummon over Anticipate because Anticipate is quite powerful. Look at the top 3, pick one of them, put it into your hand, and the rest on bottom. Quite powerful in this format. Pick your best card out of your top 3, also known as pick the one that draws cards. Alright, here we've got really not a lot going on. We can take the 4/4, or the strictly better 4/4, the one that when you gain life, each opponent loses one, or just like a flyer. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the 4/4 that deals damage to our opponents whenever we gain life. I guess we could also just take Noxious Grasp, and like worst case scenario, we just don't cast it. Which isn't as bad as in like a normal draft when you're down one card, because in this draft, just people draw so many cards that card advantage is just not even a thing anymore. It's just insanity. Anyways, I'm just going to end up with that epic here. Here I'm definitely taking Pattern Marcher. It's going to be very good with Undead Servant and Keldon Raider, and hopefully Battalion Foot Soldier as well. Hopefully we've got plenty of cards to combo with our Pattern Matcher. So I'm going to go ahead and take that here. The other pick would just be like a Soul Salvage, because nothing in here draws cards, so other than that, it's just like Rip Scale Predator is the biggest dude, or Soul Salvage will sort of draw cards. It draws cards from our graveyard. Here, we can take another Duress. I'm not a huge fan of that. I guess we'll see how well Duress does. We're definitely just taking the Foot Soldier. And now, what do we have? Sage's Row Denizen could be the pick here. Sage's Row Denizen gives us something that will win the game if we loop Wavecrashers, or if we loop Scholars. So Row Denizen would be kind of where I'm trying to head here. I haven't quite gotten there, though. So that would be the reason to just take the 5/5 over it, but I think I'm going to take the Denizen. Negate is also not that bad in this format, because it can counter a Winged Words or Drawn from Dreams or something like that, so Negate might even be the pick, but I'm going to go with the Denizen. Try to stay a little combo-y. Here we'll pick up another Foot Soldier. Pick up an Undead Servant. Pick up the biggest creature, which is the 4/6. And now we pick up the 7/7. And now I feel like it's pretty unlikely that we get to trigger this thing. So I'm just going to go with the Wolfkin Bond and land to the sideboard. Alright. Risen Reef. So Risen Reef will combo if we get double Wavecrasher. So that is worth considering. It also basically, yeah, we're not going to have any lands in our deck, so this is just straight up going to draw a card when we play it. Risen Reef is probably actually pretty good in this format, and that actually really incentivizes us to pick up more elementals, because we just chain elementals and draw a bunch of cards. That actually seems very powerful. And there's no other draw spells in this pack, and the rare is just 2 3/3s. Yeah, definitely taking Risen Reef in this pack. Alright, what have we here? So Rule of Law is a very interesting card in this format, and the reason is if you get this on the play and you do all of your crazy stuff and then cast down a Rule of Law, you're basically just confirmed to win the game at that point, because you don't have to worry about your opponent doing any kind of crazy change. They just cast one thing. However, if you get this on the draw, it's basically useless, because your opponent's already going to have done their crazy stuff before you, and then you do all your crazy stuff and then set this down. So it's just like whoever did the crazier thing is going to win the game then, because then no one can do crazy things anymore now that a Rule of Law is on board. So, very interesting card. Really, really like a coin flip of a card here, because if you play that on turn 1 after you've cast a bunch of stuff, that's going to be very hard for your opponent to come back from. But you don't get to just like choose that you're always going to play first. It's a 50-50. It's whatever arena decides. So when you're not playing first, Rule of Law just seems like a very weird card. So we could try out the Rule of Law. Just for that potential of, like, if we're on the play, that is just evil. Or we could just pick up a Bone to Ash, because that is almost definitely good. Or we can take, like, a Sleep Paralysis. Or Veil of Summer. That'll just draw a card, basically. But it'll only draw the card if our opponent has cast a blue or black spell, so... These are both like situational draw cards, Veil of Summer and Bone Dash, which are good. I'm going to go ahead and try out Rule of Law here and see if it works out. I just want to see what happens with it, really. So we can take another Keldon Raider, give us another thing to pattern match. That seems pretty good. Also, Bone to Ash, as I've said before, does seem pretty good. So it's definitely one of these. I'm going to go with the Keldon Raider. It is not looking like we're going to get another Scholar... Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get a single Scholar of the Ages or Yarok's Wave Crasher, unfortunately, so it looks like we might not end up with any of the combo-type shenanigans, so that's pretty bad. Thought Distortion actually seems like a pretty good just turn one play. Like, get rid of all your opponent's non-creature... cards in their hand, so just make sure they don't have any major draw power. This is basically just like probably a slightly better Mind Rot / Duress in this format, because it can't be countered and it just gets rid of all of them, and then all we have to worry about is if they have like a creature that draws one card when it enters, and then potentially them just top decking the nuts. Other than that, Thought Distortion seems actually kind of real. So, that might be the pick. Other than that, there's a Befuddle for us to draw a card. Or another Keldon Raider, just have a gigantic stack of Keldon Raider. I'm going to go ahead and take Thought Distortion. I think at this point I'm taking a lot more interactive cards than you would usually want to take in this format. Like, at this point I should probably just have some more like Befuddle-style draw power and then just start picking up more gigantic creatures. And just hoping to win that way. But... because it's my first draft in the M20 format, I really want to try out, the M20 Omniscience Draft format. I really want to try out these random cards that aren't good really in any other format, but might potentially be pretty good in Omniscience, like Thought Distortion and Rule of Law and stuff like that. Do really want to try them out. So we've got Keldon Raider will definitely draw us a card. And Season of Growth will possibly draw us a card if we have a bunch of targeting spells, which we don't have a lot. We do have Befuddle. We could Befuddle our own creature to draw a card. But I do not think we have enough for Season of Growth to really be very good. But it also does scry when we play creatures, which is interesting. I think it's still just going to be Keldon Raider here, though. And another Keldon Raider, just all the Keldon Raiders. Undead Servant is okay, too, because we have a bunch of those, but... Keldon Raider, I believe it is. This is our final chance to get a combo, and we did not get a combo, unfortunately. Actually, no, we've got one more chance. This is pick 7, not pick 8. I am a miscounter. So we can take Aerial Assault to destroy a tapped creature, but I have a feeling like if they've attacked us with something giant, we're probably just going to die anyway, so maybe just rip Scale Predator. We also have, like, Unsummon randomly to deal with stuff, and Befuddle, and we don't really have any removal, but Aerial Assault isn't the greatest removal, so I'm kind of thinking we'd rather just have a 6/5. Oh, Blade Brand lets us draw a card. What am I talking about? I haven't even been looking at Blade Brand. Alright. Well, there we go. There's the final chance to have gotten Agent of Scholars or another Yarok's Wave Crash, and we did not get one of those, so it's going to have to be just a Pulse of Marasa, maybe? Works well with Keldon Raider, for sure. Works well with Undead Servant if they've been dying. And the only other pick here really is just a 4/4. So I'll go with a Pulse of Marasa. And now... very unexciting pack. take an elemental just in case I get to have a Risen Reef out when I cast that. Or I could just take the 3/3. Yeah, I'll just take the biggest creature. And take the biggest creature. Take the biggest creature. Take the draw spell. I mean, I like Season of Growth slightly better than Plummet, so I guess Season of Growth it is. And the biggest creature, and the biggest creature. Alright, and we got some gems for grabbing a duplicate rare at some point there. So we do get to cut some cards here, because I forgot that in the M20 format, the land slot actually sometimes gets drafted because sometimes it's a non-basic land that the bots are interested in for some reason. So we actually have 4 cards we get to take out instead of just 2 like usual. So what cards do we not want at all in this format? I mean, we probably just go and find the lowest mana cost creatures and just take those out. That is probably the best thing we can do. Yeah, like just a 2 mana 2/1, a 2/2, maybe Disenchant. We might end up seeing a lot of stuff that we want to blow up with Disenchant, but I'm not sure about that, so we'll keep it in the sideboard for now, and if we end up losing to things that we want to Disenchant over and over and over again, we'll put it back in. I guess I'm actually just going to take Season of Growth out here. Alright, so there goes our first Omniscience Draft of the M20 format. Definitely not very happy with our deck. If I'm being completely honest, we did not see a lot of very powerful draw support. Nothing at all that draws more than 2 cards, and not very many draw 2s at all, just 2 winged words. And not even a lot of very good cantrips. Oh, Jesus. And we've got just random cards like Wolfkin Bonds. So, not super happy with the way this went, but we'll definitely play it out and see what other people are getting here. So this might be keepable, literally just to have Bone to Ash. But this is so bad if they don't play anything we really want to Bone to Ash. I guess I mulligan. There we go, alright. Well, we have no interaction with this hand, however, so we have to hope our opponent doesn't do anything crazy here. Let's see how it goes. But other than that, I mean, this hand is good. Wait, did they do nothing? I thought it said opponent goes first. Oh, wow, this is really good hand now. If we're going first. Alright, Battalion Foot Soldier. We're going to take those, but we're not going to play them until we've played through our turn, because we might hit Keldon Raiders that we just want to discard a 2/2 to. I should probably have played Risen Reef first. I should definitely have played Risen Reef first, let's be honest. Just to see what I drew off top, just to make sure it wasn't something that I would have wanted to discard instead. Oh wow, this is a fantastic turn. Alright. We got big boys. Yeah, I mean, just play it all out, man. The worst case scenario is some of our stuff dies, in which case we can soul salvage and do it all again. So, let's just make the field good. I'm just going to put it on the Raider, because I actually would like them to kill Risen Reef, so I'll keep it as small as possible, so that I could potentially soul salvage it. I should have just thrown it on a Foot Soldier by that reasoning. That way it's possible that Raider would die as well. We'll see what our opponent has. Sentinel, Undead Servant, and that is it. And we've got an Undead Servant of our own. Let's send in the squad. Masterful Replication. Create 2 3/3s at instant speed. Well, they got me with that a bit. Yep, they just get to eat some 2/2s. Take a lot of damage here, though. Well, now I do get to recast Risen Reef at the very least. I really should have put that Wolfkin Bond onto a Battalion Foot Soldier. That way, Keldon Raider would have still had 3 toughness here, and they would have been like, ha, got him, and blocked with a 3-3 or a 3-2. Oh, wow, never mind. If they're just going to double block it still, that's actually fantastic for me. Because I was going to say, having Risen Reef and Keldon Raider both die would be incredible. Oh, it looks like they decided not to kill Risen Reef anymore. Do I still just pick up Keldon Raider? I don't think so. I think this board still just puts enough pressure onto them. Without Keldon Raider, I'd rather wait and potentially get Risen Reef back as well. Ooh, they've got a Soul Salvage of their own. Sentinel's back and Servant is back. Definitely sending in Risen Reef. I think we sent in everything except the 2-2. I believe that is the play. Because Undead Servant will trade with whatever. Vorst Claw will probably, like, get chump blocked, or if not, it'll kill 2 things and then die. Unholy Indenture on Undead Servant. Okay. Yeah, alright, now we just have a 5/5 Death Touch coming in, so, like, we can totally just send in the squad. Still. See what they've got here. Well, see what they decide here. They're going to go for the triple block on the Vorst Claw to kill it. They're just going to block up everybody. They want to make sure that Vorst Claw dies. Alright, nope. Swapping it over like that. I'll kill both the 3/3s with him then. Now I can just return Reef Vorst Claw though, so that's incredible. Soul Salvage is working out quite well. But that is because we have run against a deck that hasn't, you know, just drawn 5,000 cards turn 1. But I don't know how likely that is in this format, as compared to previous Omniscience Drafts, where it was incredibly likely. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. This is just very lethal. Unless they have Planar Cleansing, there's no way out of this, since we got Rule of Law to end that. Even if they have the draw spell, it is over. Unfortunately, just a Stone Golem for our opponent, so that was a very nice turn there. That should be lethal. Alright, so the first game with this not fantastic looking Omniscience Draft deck has been a success, so at least we've got that going for us. And we did manage to loop some stuff, and Soul Salvage definitely did impress me that game, but that is because that game went on a little while. And Rule of Law as well. Even though we didn't just play multiple cards and then Rule of Law turn 1, since the game actually had a bit of a back and forth, Rule of Law still seems like a powerful card. So, Rule of Law, probably not just powerful on turn 1, but also powerful if the game is a back and forth style game, just to make sure your opponent can't randomly, you know, get a draw spell to get into a more powerful position than you. So just drop Rule of Law whenever your board is stronger than your opponent's, and it'll probably be helpful. Oh, wow. This hand doesn't seem very good. We really have to draw into something with this hand, otherwise we just have a 5/5 Death Touch, and we're hoping to block stuff well. I'm gonna mulligan. Aggressive mulligans, there we go. Draw spells, we'll keep. I do think that this is a format where if your deck has a lot of powerful draw spells, you do aggressively mulligan, but if not, then maybe you shouldn't, which means maybe I shouldn't. Because if my opponent does have just a 1 of Mind Rot here, I am so dead. So, Battalion Foot Soldier, they have 4 of them. So they got to sift those right out of their deck. Here comes a Ripscale Predator. And dropping down all the Foot Soldiers, that means no Keldon Raiders here probably. And I don't know if they're dropping them all down, we just know we're dropping 2 so far. 1 still in hand. Alright. I should maybe have befuddled in case I drew Bone to Ash. I don't think that's super likely, though. So I'm kind of thinking about just leaving befuddled to actually save 4 damage. Let's see what's in their hand. Cavalier of Dawn. When it enters the battlefield, destroy a non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 colorless golem. This is going to be a difficult game. Alright, let's draw some cards. Keldon Raider, discard Cutthroat. Keldon Raider. I guess I'll befuddle now then. Dungeon Geists. Well, this is not a great spot to be in. If I play Dungeon Geist, it is just going to get turned into a 3/3, so I might as well just play Keldon Raiders, and they can turn a 4/3 into a 3/3. But that's... Oh, there we go. That is what we were looking for. But turning a 4/4 into 3/3 is just fine to me. Alright, well, at least we're only going to get hit by the 6/5. I don't think it's worth double blocking yet. Pattern Matcher, that's fantastic. But I don't want to discard this card. So I guess we're just going to play a Keldon Raider and don't discard, just so we have 2 things to block a Predator. That seems like the play. Decline. Most suspicious hand ever, though. But I'm not letting that Cavalier resolve. I'm sure my opponent knows for sure at this point I have a counterspell, so they just have to wait till they draw one of a, like, Duress of their own or something like that. Block like that. If they drew Befuddle, that's awful for me, but other than that, now I've got a 3 toughness dude against a bunch of 2 dudes. Undead Servant, that's not great. Epicure of Blood. There we go. 4 toughness creature. Exactly what I needed to stop that 3 power creature. Reduce to ashes. Well, he's gone. We're getting hit for 3. Ooh, we're getting hit for a lot. Alright, now we're getting hit for 3. Alright. Fair enough. Definitely hoping to draw like Vorse Claw or... We've got 4/4s and 5/5s and stuff, and 4/6s. There we go. Just hoping to draw better than our opponent, as usual in Magic. So there's Cavalier. We're trying to Bone Ash. Looks like they do not have a negate or anything like that. Anticipate is a fantastic draw. Passing to my turn, we'll Anticipate. And pick up Octoprophet? I mean, let's... I don't have any Undead Servant in my grave, do I? Nope, I have not discarded any Undead Servants to Keldon Raiders, so I guess we want to scry 2. Sage's Road Denizen, alright. Problem with that, though, is if they have Soul Salvage, because we didn't actually get enough Sage's Road Denizen stuff to, like, combo mill them. So Sage's Road might not even be that great. It might just be helping them. A little concerned. I might want to play that after Octoprophet. I don't think this is a game that's going to be won by mill. I think that just doesn't happen in this format. Do they just have a Bone Dash of their own? Lol. Okay. Okay. Whatever. We'll play the Sage's Road Denizen. Should have played him first. Feels bad. Feral Abomination. That's a thick card. And a Stone Golem. Well, Epicure is out. Just seeing who draws like a powerful draw spell, basically, first. I guess I drew a powerful draw spell first, but I just drew into a 3/3 afterwards. We'll block with our poopiest creatures here. I guess we should always be concerned about Befuddle, because it's a card that says draw a card on it, and everyone knows that that means it's good. Alright, Winged Words. They have a Sage's Row Denizen of their own, so if they have like the combo with it, that's going to be very bad for us. Pick up some Foot Soldiers. Kind of want to just keep them in hand for Keldon Raiders in the future. Like, we don't need to put anything else on this board. If we put anything else on this board, we're not even going to be attacking anyway, and we're not going to block any more stuff, so I don't feel like it's really necessary right now. Oh god. That's a 7/7. Well, ooh, there we go. Risen Reef, let's go. Come on, friend. Give us the goodies, Befuddle. Yeah, I'm going to cast it right now. Rather than being tricksy. Thought Distortion! Alright, Thought Distortion is looking pretty bad. I'm just going to cast stuff now, because now I can just discard Thought Distortion. I can just discard Thought Distortion to a Keldon Raider. How many do I even have left in my deck? Like 2? Yeah, I got 2 more Raiders. Anticipate from our opponent. That is terrifying. It is really unfortunate that the emblem doesn't give us enough mana to use our Frilled Sea Serpent for unblockability, because if it did, we would actually be winning this game, but right now we're still losing it. Oh god. What on earth did they draw? Something absolutely terrifying. That is for sure. That is just absolutely for sure, yeah. Alright. Taking 6, 7, 8. Watch it literally just be Infuriate for 3 more damage. Might of the Masses would kill me. But there's no way I'm blocking with Risen Reef right now. Blade Brand. Okay. What?! Oh my god! Oh, wow, that draw. Oh, that was insane! It's not even like they cast the Blade Brand main phase to draw. They were already all out on the attack. Blade Brand. Let's see what I got on top. Oh! Inspired Charge. Brutal way to end that game. Absolutely brutal, but let's see if we can come back from that heading into round 3 here. Jesus. That was a beating. Thought Distortion just sitting in our hand like, what up? Alright, I'm gonna keep it. It's not fantastic, but it can make plays. It is pretty good if I draw something bad. Unfortunately, it looks like our opponent is off to a much better start than us. Winged Words into Keldon Raider there for our opponent. Season of Growth allowing them to try. I guess their start isn't going to be much better, because we do get to play Keldon Raider and then bring it back with Wave Crasher, which is so adorable. Oh, Befuddle. I think actually the best draw I could possibly get right now is just the Legion dude. Aw, Keldon Raider. I guess I'm discarding Feral Abomination. Okay, cute. Duress. What do you have? A 3/2 Vigilance. Okay. So, Keldon Raider's back, but we now don't have anything to discard, because I played Duress just in case they drew another Winged Words or something like that. So, I think we just pass. We're... Oh my god! Gargos. We are probably dead. They drafted Gargos Season of Growth in Omniscience Draft. That is bold and brutal. Dungeon Geists. Well, that's absolutely terrible right now. It just dies immediately. Because I play it, target Gargos, and then Gargos kills it. Or I play it, target anything, and Gargos kills it. Probably losing this one as well. Vivian as well! Oh my god.
Beats in unison with the wild.
This is just a sick green deck. This is not Omniscience, this is just a sick, regular green deck. Just pay no mind to the steadfast entry.
You're fit enough to survive.
Yeah, we're gonna die in about 5 seconds this game. In about 5 seconds. I mean, they have trample, so I'm stopping like 3 damage. I am straight dead. Yup. Yup. Alright. Well, we're dead. We would have been dead either way. Because had I made the block, I wouldn't be dead in the air, but Vivian's minus lets their Gargos deal damage equal to its power to any creature. So they could then just kill my Vorse Claw and trample over with Gargos for 4 more damage, plus the 4 in the air, plus the Steadfast Sentry damage. So, wow, we are getting utterly hosed here. But that is also the nature of the format. Omniscience Draft, even more so than regular Draft, is definitely a little bit leaning towards the luck side in terms of the tertiary hierarchy of luck, skill, and victory. Yeah, this hand's not great. Yeah, a whole lot of Omniscience Draft is just the drafting portion, just getting lucky in the drafting portion with the amount of draw spells you're able to get, or just, you know, the kind of bombs you can open. Alright! Thick start from our opponent. At least we get a bunch of chump blockers here. And a 4/6. Hey. That can block Stone Golems. At least Stone Golem's probably not getting in there anymore. I can even just throw a Wolfkin Bond on it if I want. So let's see, what am I doing here? Block Ripscaled Predator with 3-foot Soldier. Stone Golem with a Frilled Sea Serpent. If I Wolfkin Bond the Frilled Sea Serpent, I can block Feral Abomination with it, but then it'll die. Then Stone Golem just gets blocked by like a couple 2/2s. I think I'd rather just +2/+2 one of my Foot Soldiers so that I can block Predator with a 4/4 and a 2/2 instead of 3 creatures. Yep, Feral Abomination getting in there. I'm just gonna take it for now. Well, let's see what's in their hand. Tomebound Lich. Okay. Thought Distortion has definitely been awful still. Just like it is in regular Draft. I mean, but the potential is... I mean, it's strictly better than Duress. So I guess Duress has been even more awful. I think I gotta just block it. There's the Tomebound Lich. Draw Frilled Sea Serpent and discard it, and they play Salvager of Ruin to get back a bomb creature. Oh yeah, Feral Abomination died this turn. Alright, well that's pretty brutal. Salvager of Ruin as well, definitely a card that's looking a bit stronger than I gave it credit for. I could pull some Marasa to get back a 2/2. Probably gonna pull some Marasa the Frilled Sea Serpent next turn. Interesting. Okay. They must have like an inspired charge or something that's just gonna slam me down. Just see what happens. Nope. Alright. Pattern Matcher. I don't think I have another Frilled Sea Serpent in here. Yeah, I do not. I'm using an app that tells me what's in my deck. Yeah, Pattern Matcher would just grab nothing, but it's a 3/3, so I guess we play it. Take the action, and there's nothing there. We have Unsummon at the ready. Natural and Honor Pattern Matcher get naturalized. Feels bad. Okay. Double block it is. Gotta draw into something here. Undead Servants. Okay. That's not very good. Hardcover. That's pretty good in this format. We're gonna have to unsummon that creature just to kill the hardcover. Like, yeah, I think we just take 6 and then just kill hardcover. Should have unsummoned when they cast it. That was very dumb of me. But I was not paying a lot of attention. Let's see what they have to their hand here. Feral Abomination. Yep, we're like very screwed. Well, Winged Birds is one of the few cards that could potentially get us out of this. Oh wow. Still Savage is great as well. Hey, Feral Abomination. What do we have in grave? No elementals. So, Frilled Sea Serpent. Frilled Sea Serpent Pattern Matcher. Pick up another Feral. Yep, those are our best creatures. Alright, well, that's a bit of a comeback turn there. Bit of a comeback. Not quite strong enough of a comeback that we're going to start attacking our opponent, I don't think, but I mean, we are in a very good spot defensively. Now they have a flyer, of course, but oh wow, that's a fantastic combo. Wave Crasher, Risen Reef, let's go. Let's go. Oh, Sage's Road Denizen, let's go. Barony Vampire, that's not very good. Okay, well, I have just a whole bunch of creatures. I can actually just start attacking now, I think. (4/6) just gets blocked by the Ripscale Predator. I can only attack with the 5/5s, but I can attack with them. Ooh, take 10. Oh, wow. This must be like a soul salvage or something like that of theirs. Well, I would like my undead servant to die. And then if I block with 7 on that, they can only deal 6. This makes the crackback very good for us. Oh, Salvager of Ruin? Okay. Not quite as good, but okay. Yeah, Feral Abomination actually just shuts off attacking with anything but our own abominations yet again. Keldon Raider. If I attack with everyone, they block and kill a Frilled Sea Serpent and a Pattern Matcher and take 10, 11, 12, 13 if they block that way. Yeah, I can actually just swing all out here. They can't not lose a creature and survive. Wait, I literally just said how they could. Oh my god. Oh, thank god they're blocking a Feral Abomination. Come on, dude, I've got Giant Growth. That's why I attacked like this. That's why I attacked like this. It's because I got Giant Growth. Oh my god, I'm dead on board if they don't lose the Stone Golem. They lost the Stone Golem, alright. Oh, that was almost real bad. Alright, they have to kill me this turn. That's why I attacked that way. I'm so stupid. Oh my god! Why do I keep losing to the frickin' most insane top decks ever? Alright, so the ideal attack would have been to attack with everyone except Risen Reef there. That way I would still have a chump blocker, so I would have 2 blockers, so in the worst case scenario where they don't lose any of their blockers, I still survive that turn block-wise. But if I attacked that way, they might not have blocked in a way that killed the Stone Golem. They might have done the block the 3/3 with it instead. And then I still just died a murder. So, that was awful. That was all around quite a explosive draft against us. Got absolutely demolished. We did get 2 packs of Core Set 2020, though. Whereas you can get 1 or 2, we happen to get 2, so very nice rewards out of that. Let's see if we get anything good in these packs here. Not really. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching this Omniscience Draft. If you liked it, you can subscribe, and I will be back again very soon with more Omniscience Drafts and other Magic Arena madness. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again soon.